A Marine firefighter, a marksman sniper, and a political leader, Francis Pegamagogo is one of the many First Nations soldiers who fought during the Great War. In the late 1800s, Francis Pegamagogo was born in Nobel, Ontario, from an Ojibwa reserve. His parents were also from there and didn't spend a lot of time with him as his father became sick and died a few years later. His mom moved back to the reserve as she contracted the same illness that killed his father. This tragic event led to Francis being taken care by Nebi Maniquad, a medicine man who also practiced Catholicism and spiritual teachings.
In August 1914, Francis had hoped that the military would consider him to join, despite the government not allowing the First Nations to fight during the First World War. After his physical fitness test for overseas services, Francis was one of the first to be a part of the 23rd Regiment Overseas Contingent, or the Northern Pioneers for their nickname. A year later, he became one of the original members of the 1st Canadian Infantry Battalion, which landed in France months later. Now, Francis was one of the most valuable soldiers within the Canadian military, since he's done many things during the war. For example, while fighting at the Second Battle of Ypres, he survived a gas attack from the Germans, while the battalion lost half its strength in just 3 days. He was later promoted to Lance Corporal later on for his services.
As throughout the war, he'd killed over 350 Germans, actual number is 378, and captured 300 war prisoners. He fought in multiple battles, such as the Battle of Mount Sorel and the Battle of the Somme, and he was rewarded for stopping the advancement of the German party. Once the war was over, Francis had become one of the most highly decorated First Nations soldiers within the military's history. He was given multiple awards for his services, such as the 2 bars for his sniper and scout experiences and the Victory Medal.
When he returned to Parry Sound a year after the war had ended, he was still treated like the rest of the First Nations during the 1900s, despite being a war hero for the country. This caused him to move toward the political field as he became a chief of the Parry Island Band, or the Wasasking First Nation, and a band counselor from 1933 to 1936. His main goal was to demand that the government give better treatment for the First Nations people of Canada. He served 2 terms as Supreme Chief of the Native Indian government, a member of the National Indian Brotherhood, and a precursor of the current Assembly of First Nations.
Years after his death, both the government and his family still honor the man's legacy for what he'd contributed before and after the war.